everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be continuing the collection video series and I'm going to be showing my crested geckos. So crested geckos are the number one, I would say maybe the number two gecko in the pet hobby today. They're what I started my collection with ages ago, back in 2012 I think it was, is when I got my first one. If you like crested geckos, keep on watching. Now let's see if I can do this. Whoa! This guy is super jumpy. This is our newest, this is our newest crested gecko. His name is the Cheat. If anyone else out there is a Homestar Runner fan, oh my goodness. From back in the ye olden days of the internet. He's a Super Dalmatian, and I got him to breed to a couple of girls. I haven't really done any Super Dalmatian projects before. It's not really been something that I've focused on, but my goal with this project is actually not to make like what everybody else wants to make, like super pale, you know, Super Dals that are super clean with no pattern. I kind of want to do the opposite. I want like a dirty, I want to do like a super, like high contrast stripes. I want to inject some cream in there, so not just phantom, so like cream, stripes, bright saturated color, and spots. Like I want it all. Like I want it all on one gecko. That's my goal for this project. So this is Marigold. Oh, I forgot to mention also that I got the Cheat from AJ from AJD Reptiles. I got him on Palm Street. I won this girl from Altitude Exotics in like 2014, I want to say, maybe 2013, for a contest he did that was like a costume contest, and I dressed up like Misty from Pokemon and put a Crestie inside of a Pokeball and did like gotta hatch 'em all. And so I ended up winning 12 crested geckos, and she was one of them. And I decided to keep her because I just loved her personality. We kind of bonded. She doesn't really like anyone else, but she likes me okay. But she's got this really pretty reverse pinstriping. When she was a baby, she was glowing orange and red. The striping was all red, and I had never really seen anything like that before. And here we have Cherry Blossom. Oh, Cherry. She is one of my first geckos. I think she was the third one I ever got, because I wanted, when I first started geckos, I started with cresteds, and I wanted to start with pinks because I'd seen like a thread on the whatever the gecko forums were called back in the day, where people were showing off pink geckos that they had that were technically red, but they were like pale when they fired up. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever, and so I was like, I'm gonna start with pink geckos, that's gonna be my thing. And that's also why my business, you know, colors include pink, because that was the first project that I ever started. She's old school lines, Crown Jewel Reptiles. If anybody remembers Crown Jewel Reptiles, they were it back in the day, back in like 2012 sort of era, like 2011, 2012. Crown Jewel Reptiles had the best website. That was like eye candy galore, and everybody always wanted animals from them. And then they decided to stop breeding geckos, and they sort of liquidated everything. And this was right before I got like really serious about it. Man, I regret to this day not having been able to like swoop up and pick up a bunch of animals from Crown Jewel Reptiles. But she is of that lineage. So here we have Rory. Rory I got as a mate for Cherry Blossom back in those days. And he's, you know, he definitely looks, his cream is a lot whiter now because he's just a little bit of an older guy. but he's really sweet. You can see he also has a few Dalmatian spots. I figured I would do a clean version of pinks and a dirty version, because I didn't really mind the spots with the pink and the cream. It almost looked like Flex and strawberry ice cream. So I was like, well, if she has spots, I'll get her a guy with a couple spots, and you know, then I can just have like any dirty being animals with spots that come out. I can put them into that project versus my clean project. He could probably still make some really gorgeous babies. He's kind of a like mauve-y color, not super bright pink. Back when Cherry was young, she was super screaming bright pink. I'll see if I can find some old pictures, but cameras weren't the same quality at that time. So I'll see what I can dig up, and if I can find something, I'll put it on the screen. This is Ruby, the first gecko that we ever produced. She is a red phantom. I'm betting that she has hypo. We've never bred her. I just kind of, we just kept her because she is the first one we ever produced. And I didn't really have a specific desire to produce more red phantoms because I produced a lot of red phantoms out of my normal pink project. So I never really bred her because, I didn't necessarily want just a plain phantom. But I mean, she's beautiful and her color is very nice. I think, if I paired her to a lily white male, might get some really beautiful red phantom lily whites. What would you do with her? Now, this is my very first gecko that I ever got. This is Cersei. Not named for Game of Thrones. This was before Game of Thrones. She is named after a cartoon character that I thought was really cool in a cartoon that was airing back then called Generator Rex. And Cersei was like basically a mutant that could like deform her face. And the thing with Cersei is I got her from a Petco, and she has one small eye that is blind on that side. That's her normal eye. But I saw her in the pet shop, and this was as I was being introduced to Cresteds. Her eye is from an injury, so her cage mate did this to her when she was at the pet store. She was already missing her tail at that time as well. And so I got her as my first gecko, and she's just an absolute sweetie. And I just fell in love because she's just such a wonderful gecko. This is RGL223. She is a gorgeous red lily white, not a spot on her. Really, really beautiful. She does have floppy tail. As you can see, she was very insistent on sitting upside down. It didn't matter how much foliage I put in her cage and put stuff on the side, she would find a way. So she's got floppy tail there, but otherwise she's doing amazing. I mean, she's nice and plump. I think she would still make a good breeder. The lineage on her, so Raspberry is from Austral Gecko. That was kind of before things went sideways with Austral. He was one of the local breeders in our area. So before all that, I got Raspberry, who looks almost just like her. I'll show you Raspberry as well. And Glitter is from another old school line. So there's this gecko called Caviar that is owned currently by Noah Bounds. Previously, Caviar was named Nosferatu and was owned by Wicked Rex. So he was like kind of a famous gecko that got bought by Noah. This is Glitter. He is the sire of one of the geckos I showed earlier. He's the one that I got from Noah, who's son of Caviar, and he's got the white spot trait really strongly. Look at it all over the legs. He's a little goofball. He's a little bit stressed out, so I think I'm gonna put him away, but he's a pretty cool looking guy, and he's made some incredible babies with Raspberry. Speaking of Raspberry, here she is. Oh, I love Raspberry Beret. Of course, named for the Prince song, because Raspberry Beret in the song is not very bright. Good name for a crestie, I thought. And this is like my favorite kind of lily white combination is super vibrant red and super white. And also, I think she probably does have white spotting. I don't actually know if white spotting is like a incomplete dominant trait or what. But definitely very strong on a lot of the kids that they produce. So however the pattern of inheritance is for that, I'll probably check on it and add it to the screen if I can find it on like the Little Monsters Foundation's 101 for Crested Gecko genetic inheritance. Look at the head, look at the dorsum, look how wide it is. And she's very friendly, extremely friendly, very easygoing, especially for a crestie. This guy is fired down to the max, but this is Captain Marvelous. He also has a wacky tail, and I bought him that way, and I didn't know he was going to come that way. The breeder did not inform me of that when I purchased him. So that was just something, you know, I had to deal with when he arrived. He's not bred for quite a number of seasons. But he was one of the founding animals for the Pink Project. And he's named after... My husband Rick is a big fan of, like, Power Rangers, but, like, he watches a lot of the Japanese, like the original sort of Power Rangers, the Super Sentai. So one of the seasons, the Red Ranger is named Captain Marvelous. Like the character, that's their name. So he's Captain Marvelous because he's red. And because we're big nerds. Now, this girl is like one of my pride and joys. I got her in 2013 from Mina, from the Menagerie, if you remember the Menagerie. Look at this. This is Glaive. She's been a breeder for us for many years. She's the one that really started my obsession with Emptybacks. That was before we called them Emptybacks. In fact, like, I had wanted to start the project and I didn't know that anyone else was doing it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna call them Highways. And so I still have like an ancient folder on Facebook labeled the Highway Project with all of these guys in it. Back then we didn't know how the genes worked or any of that. She's been through a few seasons, and I think she just kind of put some weight on, and it's hard to get it back off. And but otherwise, like, oh, she's so beautiful. And this handsome little man is Kylo Ren, because I am a huge nerd. He's also a much older sort of animal in my collection. Back when he was younger, that middle section down his dorsum used to be more vibrant orange. So he's not phantom, he's definitely, you know, regular in that respect. He's coming off more brown on camera, but in person he's black. Oh, buddy, how are you? You biting me? Maybe he smells of feeding you. He's normally really sweet, so I think he's probably just a little, you know, a little excited. Yeah, he's smelling me. He smells the girl. He is another one of the Altitude Exotics geckos that I won. So it's great because he's going for me. Buddy, this is indecent. This is indecent behavior. I was lucky enough to win him, and this was again before we really knew about sort of the inheritance pattern of Emptybacks, but Altitude was one of the first ones to make them famous. And you made me lose my train of thought because you're such a dirty boy. Yeah, I'm really proud of this guy, and normally he's really just like completely chill and fired down, but as you can see, age isn't stopping him from being ready to go. I actually don't know how long they can be. I'm just gonna put you away. They can be viable in terms of breeding and producing healthy offspring. You know, how old is kind of the cutoff there, but you know, these guys can live a long time. He's a good boy. He's just being a little stinker. Speaking of Emptybacks, here's another one of my holdbacks that I've produced. This is Scimitar. And he is a red Emptyback, or super Emptyback. I don't know how people are gonna end up sort of referring to it going forward. But also, I think he's phantom. If you see his crests, his head, like, he has kind of a phantom look to me. Not always, but like, I just have a sneaking suspicion that he's actually phantom. And phantom can suppress pattern, so it's hard to tell. There might be some pattern that would be appearing here that is just suppressed by the phantom gene. That's one wrinkle in my, working with Emptyback, is that sometimes it's really hard to tell if a gecko is Emptyback or phantom. Sometimes you can tell, by, like I said, a light head, but sometimes they're quite dark, and it's pretty difficult to tell unless you breed them. And then, like, when you breed them, you don't get all super Emptybacks. So my running theory is that, like, sometimes animals that seem like they're super Emptyback are actually phantom, and the pattern that they do have is suppressed, so then when you breed them, you think you're breeding something that has a fully empty dorsum, and it actually doesn't, and then surprise, surprise, the babies are not super Emptybacks. This guy is Saber. He was also one of the founding animals from my Emptyback project, and he's one of the ones that I think actually is probably phantom, because when I paired him to Scythe, who you will see momentarily, they did not produce all Emptybacks. In fact, a lot of them, I would say, were just hets. So because she looks like a super, and I'm quite sure that she's not phantom, it's gotta be that he's phantom, but it's the only thing that I can think of, because otherwise it's just the genes don't work like we think they do, and that makes less sense. So, but he is really beautiful. He's got kind of a furry trait, like, I don't know if you can tell, but he's got sort of raised scales kind of on the inside as well, a little bit. Like, some of that is pattern and some of that is actually three-dimensional. This is Scythe. I'm very proud to have produced her. She is from Glaive and Kylo, one of the holdbacks. There were 2 holdbacks from them that I ever kept, and it's her and Scimitar. So we bred her last season. We bred her, I believe, the previous season, but this last season we bred her with Saber, and they produced some beautiful geckos. She's really sweet. She's really beautiful. It's too bad about the tail drop. She did it when she was annoyed by her mate. So, thanks, Saber. Obviously not a completely perfectly clean dorsum. That's what we're gonna go for, you know, going forward with this project. I just want it to be completely perfectly clean while not being phantom. That is important. Like, I want it to be no phantom gene causing, you know, an artificial dulling down of the white in the dorsum. I want that to just be perfectly clean without the help of phantom. This is a super exciting addition to our Crested Gecko collection and to our an-thic project. She is an an-thic lily white. This is Cumulus. And I bought her from Ruby Reptiles. She is really beautiful, and she's already laid 4 eggs for us this year. And I'm so excited. We have a couple of different an-thic projects in the works. And she is one of the females for it. It's a small project, so there's only 2 females and 1 male so far, but I'm very, very excited. I've been wanting an-thic in my collection for years. Just kind of had to wait until the price went a little bit down because while I am known for Chahoua, I am not as known for my Crested Geckos, even though I started with Cresteds. So it wasn't necessarily worth making it a huge investment like right away into the project, just because people wouldn't necessarily know me for that, even though I use pretty much the same principles to breed Chahoua as I do to breed Crested Geckos. So I'm excited to show off that project today, and I'm excited to see what comes out of those eggs. This guy's rather jumpy, so I don't know how well this will go, but he's also extremely beautiful. This is Axe, or Battle Axe. He is an an-thic, Emptyback. He's got a bit of floppy tail because he did that thing where he likes to sit upside down also. Super annoying. It always happens to the nicest ones. But other than that, he is just so gorgeous. Pure black and white. Just, you know, some of the an-thics can get brown or whatever, but he's always just looking incredible. I got him from Lychee Garden in a trade. So I traded a Chahoua for him. He's obviously going to go into my Emptyback project. I would like to continue making super Emptyback an-thics because I think they are just absolutely insane. This is Seki. She came with that name, so I kept it. I got her a long time ago from Elise, but she got Seki from a show, so we don't know her origin or her lineage. So I'm not really sure, but I think she might also be phantom. She seems phantom to me. If I remember right, her kids were also kind of het Emptyback looking rather than full Emptyback, with a couple, like 1 or 2 that looked super. I tried breeding her to Scimitar and none of the babies hatched successfully. It was kind of sad, but that's how it went. They went almost full term and then would just kind of die in the egg, unfortunately. So something about their pairing up didn't work. She's like a really cute, kind of nervous face. She always has this kind of like, look. This guy is a holdback out of raspberry and glitter. He doesn't really have a name yet. We just call him Flower Kid because when he was a baby, he really loved this very specific fake flower and didn't really care about any other furniture. He just wanted to be in his flower. So we just called him Flower Kid, but I've thought about possibly selling him, but I thought it would be really nice to have a lavender lily white to pair to any of the pink geckos that I have, potentially to do, try to do pink lily whites. I think that would be really cool. But also, if there's any yellow or any other color, lavender goes really well with those things. Up close, it's hard to tell, but he does have a bit of orange. So I think he is technically a tricolor, but very subtly. I think it mostly got covered up with cream as he aged. This is Peppercorn. I got her also from AJ of AJD Reptiles, also from Palm Street, so I won her in an auction, and I wanted to get her as part of the Super Dal, Super Messy, Tiger and Cream and Everything project. I need a good name for that project, so if you have a suggestion for a project name, please comment below. I want it to be basically lots of pattern, lots of color, cream, and lots of spots, like big spots over cream. So that's the goal with that project. And I'm hoping that I might be able to breed her this season. This is Pumpkin Spice, and she's actually our only cappuccino. But not only is she cappuccino, she is het for an-thic. And we have eggs cooking from her with Axe. So that is super exciting. I also love that her orange is so vibrant, because a lot of cappuccinos just kind of look brown, But she's just got these beautiful oranges, almost like a reddish orange. Very, very vibrant. Really pops with that white. The spots, not ideal, obviously, to have spots, but there really weren't many het an-thic cappuccinos. I think there were only a couple of them in the United States, and I got her from Ruby Reptiles, and he's one of the people that had them. So really lucky to have her, and excited to see what she does for the season. And this is Kukui. I got him from Tinley, from Christie's Reptile Room, and I was looking for a male for my orangey yellow lily white, which I will also show, obviously, and I wanted something that would break up her pinstriping, and even though he does have some pinstriping, I thought his side markings are just so cool. Like, it's like chaotic in an unusual way. I really liked it, and he has amazing head structure too. Like, look at the head on this guy. And I didn't even know, but he has tangerine. So a lot of the babies that we've hatched from this pairing have come out with a very strong tangerine tint to them, especially the lily whites. Here is another holdback from Raspberry and Glitter. This is RGL 523. We need a better name for this one, of course. She's our only phantom lily white that we produced out of the pairing so far. We've produced phantoms and lily whites, but this is the first phantom lily white. And I just think she's a phenomenal example, because I've seen some phantom lily whites that have kind of more of a dull base color, but hers is super vibrant, and she's got white spot. So I've got all these little white spots breaking through. This is SSA 723, one of our holdbacks from Scythe and Saber. And I'm just like in love with the black on this guy. So velvety. I just love it. I have two holdbacks that both went male from this pairing, which is kind of unfortunate that they're both male, but I still don't know if I would get, rid of either one of them, because they're both really gorgeous. This is the brother of the one that I just showed, SSA 423. Both of them still need names. Oh, how dark they are, it just makes me wonder if there's soft scale, because I know that Kylo Ren has a bit of a soft sort of look to him, maybe. And most of the geckos that we've produced from my Emptyback project have this almost velvet quality that I'm wondering if that's maybe like het soft. Which one of the holdbacks is your favorite? This is Lilikoi. I absolutely love her. She's from Zengex, and she's made some incredible babies this last season that I look forward to showing you. Lilikoi is another word for passion fruit, the Hawaiian word for passion fruit. Kukui is also a Hawaiian word for, oh, I can't remember the name of the nuts, but if you ever go to Hawaii, there are these nuts that are often made into necklaces, and so I thought he kind of reminded me of one of those. And she is obviously very passion fruit colored. Here we have another older female. This is Sugarloaf. She's so pink. She has aged a little bit, so she's dulled out slightly from when I first got her. We haven't successfully bred her because when we did try for a season with Glitter, she rejected him and all of her eggs were duds. So I do want to try again sometime when I'm focusing on my pink project again. This is Natasha. She is the first pink gecko that I got. I believe she's the second gecko I ever got. And just was so stunning in her youth. I'll see if I can put a picture up. Obviously that was during a time when cameras weren't as good, so I'll see what I've got laying around, but she looked like shockingly beautiful in my opinion. But now I almost kind of want to get back more to like a little bit less cream, maybe more chaotic markings. I like Harley and white spotting, but leaving the base color visible because I think it's one of the more remarkable things about them is that they can be these vibrant colors. What do you think? Would you be interested in pink, in the pink gecko project getting a revival? Let me know down below. Pink isn't even my favorite color. It's so unusual on a reptile. Who thinks about pink lizards? Like, it's just so, like, they look like little ice cream treats, you know? And this incredible animal is Razpaz. This is a holdback from Raspberry and Glitter. And you can see why. So much has come in and covered her beautiful base color, which is a super vibrant red, just like Mom. And then there's these, you know, orange bits in there as well. And she's just like absolutely incredible. I mean, that's not, you know, that's not your standard, your bog standard lily white. She's like messy, and the white spot just makes lily white so much better in my opinion. So you may notice a new hand has appeared. That is Rick and my husband, and it's because these next two geckos are kind of his and prefer to be handled by him. So he's going to be handling Switch. This is Switchblade, Switch for short. He was sort of gifted to us by a couple of friends when we all went to, I think it was like PetSmart, and I saw him I was like, oh, it's an Emptyback. Or at the time, there was no real like term for it. But I was like, oh, he's got the kind of pattern that I want to go for, but like, I don't know if I should get him. And I was sort of waffling, and then like we went home, and then I hear a knock at the door, and our friends are there with this gecko, and they're like, here. So now we have him. We decided to keep him, and Rick and Switch have bonded. Switch is just this little weirdo with a really funny little face, and Rick likes him a lot. And this is Mew. Mew is only handleable by Rick and Rick alone. I got him thinking he was gonna go pink as a baby, and then he went brown. So we've never bred him with anybody, but Rick got really attached to him. And so he's just another pet. And he's Rick's gecko. I cannot touch him because he will freak out. So we're letting Rick handle him for a brief appearance. And yes, he's named after the Pokemon Mew. So that is the second of Rick's geckos. So that is all that I have to show for today. Those are the adult Crested Geckos and subadult Crested Geckos in my collection that we have either purchased or bred. So I hope that you enjoyed seeing this peek into my collection. I know that I'm known more for Chahoua, but I love having my Crested Geckos and breeding them still. We definitely have some really exciting projects that will be coming up. You'll get more updates on those projects, eggs hatching, and I will go more in depth about my motivations for all my different projects, including my Crested Gecko projects. I have more collection videos coming up, but I hope that you enjoyed this and enjoyed seeing my collection, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day. This is a very exciting addition to our, whoop, oh, let's try that again. Because she's het a an-thic. And also she just happens to be, whoa, if you would face the right way, you can see why I held them both back. They're both super dark and jumping all over the place.